energy, opposing other people. They carry a chip on their shoulders and make enemies instead of friends. Others fight the elements, or society's taboos and restrictions. These are the rugged individualists who want unlicensed freedom to act in any way they wish in a society that is rigidly regulated by codes of morals and behavior. This includes the beatnik generation who wish to wear long hair and beards and appear in public in dirty and shabby clothing. There is nothing wrong with this conduct if it does not infringe on the rights of others, but the individual who casts off all restraints and does exactly as he wishes must pay the price in being ostracized by society and losing many opportunities for improving his lot in life. Dynamic action does not mean throwing off all restraints, but adapting to the mores of society and adjusting to the existing situation as gracefully as possible. 5. Dynamic action, mentally and physically, can be implemented by applying the law of evolution to your life. You must continue to evolve, and when you stop evolving and growing, you begin to stagnate. Nature has this law in action throughout all creation. When something ceases to be useful, it is destroyed. Make it a point to keep evolving your mind and body, to maintain them in useful forms of action as long as there is life within you. Have some mental exercise each day. Also have some form of physical exercise, which will help maintain you in a dynamic and useful condition until advanced old age. 6. Love of humanity has been one of the great master motives which has stirred countless thousands of men and women into many forms of dynamic and successful action. Father Damien worked with the lepers of Molokai for years, bringing new methods of treatment to that dread disease, and finally gave his life in that work. He was stirred to such dynamic action by his love of humanity. Mia Curie and her husband worked for 20 years in a miserable lean-to, where snow drifted through the cracks in winter, extracting minute particles from hundreds of tons of pitch blends to isolate a gram of radium. Their work was for the good of humanity, and now many people's lives are saved because of their loving sacrifice. Dr. Albert Schweitzer dedicated his life to serving the Africans in the jungles, where he brought healing to thousands. This dedicated man was inspired to dynamic action by his love of people. 7. To increase your flow of dynamic energy for all purposes in your life, have some definite goal which you are trying to achieve. This goal should be readjusted every 5 years or so, for our needs change as we grow older. With this fixed goal in mind, focalize all your thoughts and emotions on its achievement, and soon your brain and body will be flooded with dynamic energy that will inspire you to dynamic action. Elsewhere in our study, we have given some worthwhile goals which everyone is trying to achieve. The 10th key, metaphysical divine love. Master metaphysician Jesus said, "A new commandment I give unto you. Love ye one another." The old law had been an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, a law of revenge and hatred. Undoubtedly, the profound changes civilization experienced after this law was released could be traced to this new philosophical concept of divine love. There are many different types of love. Elsewhere in our study, we learn of the healing power of love and also the need for physical and emotional love in our lives. The most potent type of love for stirring the miracle superforces of your mind is divine love. The human soul searches throughout eternity for its divine counterpart, God. Our earthly experience is a constant quest for our physical mate, for purposes of procreation and carrying on the race. However, the soul has its hunger and its need also. It is for divine love, the divine romance in which man, in the generic sense, searches for his lost half, the God consciousness in a cosmic love that extends throughout eternity. When man once discovers this divine love, he becomes complete and fulfilled. The love of God transforms and transfigures all humanity into the radiant divine image of God himself. How to release divine love. 1. Do little loving things every day of your life for your friends, relatives, and neighbors. These little kindnesses gradually build the habit pattern of divine love within your consciousness, and in turn, attract loving actions from others. 2. To build the divine love concept, you must first rid your mind of the consciousness of hate, envy, resentment, jealousy, and malice. Whenever such a negative thought enters your mind, say to yourself, I now supplant this negative thought with the thought of divine love. Soon you will have rid your mind of these deadly negative thoughts which counteract divine love. 3. It is not enough to love only our friends and relatives. We should extend divine love to everyone in the entire world. I know it is difficult to hold this cosmic concept of love, for there have been so many enmities throughout the centuries in countries that have long been oppressed by their enemies. Many people hate the Germans, the Japanese, the Russians. The Greeks hate the Turks because they occupied their country for 400 years. Rationally, we can understand such reactions, but spiritually, we cannot condone hate of any kind. We must try to rationalize our reasons for hating and then work out a pattern of forgiveness and divine love, so we do not come under the negative emotional effects which hatred engenders. A girl who came to my lectures in Carnegie Hall for some time had the most radiant and beautiful expression on her face. I became curious as to why she was so magnetic and attractive. Her features were not too beautiful, but there was a spiritual quality within her that transcended the physical. One day I asked her for her secret of loveliness. She smiled brightly, opened a gold locket hanging on a chain about her neck, and showed me the inscription inside. Whom, not having seen, I love. Then I understood the reason for her spiritual beauty and serenity. She loved the entire world and its inhabitants with divine love. 4. Every time you meet someone that you want to hold and interest, practice projecting an invisible golden line between your mind and theirs. Send out the thoughts on this golden cord, I love the divine in you, and you will love the divine in me. People sense our thoughts, and they will instantly respond to thoughts of love and kindness. Another young lady who came to my lectures told me in an interview with her that she could not attract the right type of boyfriend. She wanted to marry and have children desperately, but all the men she attracted seemed so physical and animalistic that she had withdrawn into a shell of solitude and no longer went out on dates with boys. I gave her this golden cord concept and told her to radiate divine love rather than physical or emotional love. She left my office a changed person. Within 1 month, she had 3 proposals of marriage from fine men. Later, she made her choice and married. She now has 3 beautiful children, and her entire life has changed. 5. Your mental states show on your face and in the contours of your body. In order to show to the world the image of divine love, begin at once to change your facial expressions from anxiety, fear, worry, and hate to expressions of love, confidence, peace, and poise. To do this, stand before your mirror and study the various expressions that come onto your face with various emotions. Think of something you hate. Notice how the face assumes an ugly mask. Fear and worry do the same thing. Now change your thought. Think of someone or something that you love. See the uplifted expression of the cheeks and mouth. When you meet people you want to attract or impress, carry the expression on your face that you have when you say, I love you. 6. Another important way for stirring the consciousness of divine love from within is to memorize beautiful and romantic poetry. The electrical pulsations from your mind to your face tend to set the mold of your expression in the form of the thoughts you habitually think. Emerson said, "What you speak so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." To shape the inner consciousness so its radiations are romantic and beautiful in your face and form, absorb the beauty and meaning of romantic poetry. Learn Elizabeth Barrett Browning's beautiful poem, How Do I Love Thee, in its entirety, and say it often when you wish to become inspired with divine love. Study the poems of Keats, Shelley, and Byron, also the love sonnets of Shakespeare. 7. Learn to be a lover of beauty in life, and soon you will reflect beauty in your soul. This soul beauty transcends physical beauty and will make you radiant and beautiful. Chapter 9. The metaphysical miracle power used by the world's richest men. What miracle power is used by men and women who accumulate a fortune? Do they possess some special secret miracle power which makes them different from others? Have they learned how to tap a hidden vein of gold, a vast reservoir of mental and spiritual power with which they can convert their ideas into a radiant golden stream of riches. In our study of this miracle power for building a fortune, we shall explore the ancient secret of the alchemists who tried to convert base metals into gold. They failed, but the principle of transmutation they used is a solid one, and this law of transmutation is behind all great riches. This secret power of transmutation is in all of nature, and we see it at work in the soil. When we put a seed of wheat or corn into the ground, nature transmutes it into a pint of grain. Plant a pint and nature gives you back a bushel. The law of the harvest is to reap more than you sow. Nature knows the alchemist's secret of transmutation well. She takes black soil and fashions golden apricots and pink watermelon. From green grass, the alchemist of nature produces white milk and yellow butter. From the same patch of soil, this miracle force in nature will yield corn, apples, wheat, potatoes, and cotton. What strange secret power is in the soil that can give such a diversity of riches from the same elements? Metaphysical alchemy. Secret of the ages. Throughout the ages, there have been men and women who knew how to use metaphysical alchemy to achieve miraculous results. With this superpower of divine mind, they were able to wrest a fortune from nature. They were able to convert their ideas into material substance. They knew how to use the hidden forces of nature to create new substances like nylon and plastics. They discovered the hidden reservoirs of wealth and brought forth oil, coal, steel, and gold from the hidden places of earth. They tapped giant trees and from their resources created mansions and skyscrapers, and from their sap brought forth sugar and rubber. However, nature does not yield her priceless treasures to man easily. There must be a regime of work and study of the laws of nature. There must be a willingness to give something to the universe in return for what we are to receive. Nature does not give man anything. Man must pay a price for all these priceless treasures. Metaphysical alchemy, the secret power of the ages, may be used in your own life to convert your ideas into golden treasures, if you wish to become rich. Or you may use this secret miracle power, as so many geniuses of history have, to achieve some worthwhile goal through releasing your creative talents in other ways. Everyone does not want to become a millionaire. Many people are satisfied to have a comfortable income and security for old age. Such people may still benefit from a study of this metaphysical alchemy, for with this power of transmutation, they may convert their time, thoughts, energies, and efforts into substantial rewards that will sustain them comfortably throughout life. 16 Gold Keys to Metaphysical Alchemy. We shall study the lives of some of the world's richest men, past and present, and see how they have used our 16 gold keys to metaphysical alchemy. In each instance, you will discover these successful men have used one or more of these gold keys to unlock the secret doors to the treasures of the universe. Vision, courage, organizational ability, willingness to take chances, an expansive mind, enthusiasm, sharing their wealth, thrift, integrity, loyalty, intensity of desire, good judgment, ability to make right decisions, determination, patience, persistence. Everyone has had an idea at some time in his life, which, if followed through, might have produced a fortune. The only difference between the richest men in the world and ordinary people is that these men followed through with their creative ideas and used one or all of the above 16 golden keys to riches. Let us study some of these successful men's lives and see how they applied the principle of metaphysical alchemy to their ideas and lives. The key to the Rockefeller fortune. Perhaps one of the most outstanding fortunes in the entire world is that of the Rockefeller oil empire. The late John D. Rockefeller Sr. transmuted his ideas into a vast worldwide financial empire that is still blessing millions with its productivity and products. What keys did Rockefeller use to transmute the products of Earth into billions of dollars? Vision was the first golden key that Rockefeller used in this process of transmutation. Back in the early days when the automobile was still in its infancy, he had the metaphysical vision to realize that one day the wheels of industry would turn with oil. He obtained oil leases on land that was useless on the surface and harnessed the natural resources of the earth by drilling oil wells. Anyone else who had vision could have done the same thing. Vision was the key to the Rockefeller fortune. However, Rockefeller used other keys that are given in our list. He had great organizational ability and formed a company which he headed. He also showed a willingness to take chances, number 4 on our list, and risked his capital, which he had to first borrow on this extremely hazardous undertaking. He showed enthusiasm, an expansive mind, numbers 5 and 6 on our list. He had thrift and integrity. He also exhibited good judgment and the ability to make the right decisions. He shared his wealth. Millions of people have been helped by the scientific and medical discoveries of that altruistic organization, the Rockefeller Foundation. He also used the last 3 keys on our list: determination, patience, and persistence. Rockefeller loved his work. He was at his desk early and remained until late at night, personally taking care of the thousands of details that came up daily. He continued this habit of work until he was in his 90s. His enthusiasm gave him amazing glandular stimulus that carried him successfully through periods of illness, worries, and problems that might have floored a weaker-willed person. Andrew Carnegie and his golden touch. It is said of Andrew Carnegie that he possessed the golden touch. Everything he undertook turned out successfully. This was no accident. It was the result of painstaking care and effort, coupled with an intuitive sense that was almost psychic. In his youth in Scotland, Carnegie was extremely poor. He had one great determination early in his life. It was to be a great success and make a vast fortune, so he could help the world in some way. His desire to become rich was not motivated by greed and selfishness. He had a great desire to give his poor family the comforts of life, as well as to share his wealth with the world. Carnegie exhibited vision as an early trait. When he came to America, he saw the great possibilities of an expanding economy in a new country, where the industrial and motor age were booming. Carnegie fastened his mind on steel as the foundation of his future fortune. He used golden key number 5, an expansive mind, and first accumulated all the knowledge he could regarding the production and refinement of steel products. He worked hard and observed everything carefully. He worked in a steel mill where he got first-hand experience, and gradually worked his way to the top of his own company. He showed qualities of organizational ability and good judgment in hiring good men to head his organization. He founded his own steel company and obtained financial backing from banks because of his integrity and ability. Gave away hundreds of millions. After building his vast fortune, Carnegie gave away hundreds of millions of dollars. One of his greatest gifts was 1,200 public libraries throughout America. This golden key number 7, a desire to share his wealth, was the key to Carnegie's character and one of the reasons why he succeeded. He also founded Carnegie Hall, a cultural institution that has brought priceless treasures to New York City for many years. He had numerous other philanthropies and charities which he supported. He believed that wealth should be distributed for the good of all mankind, and that it should be used to help humanity. His own life was a living example of this creed of generosity. Andrew Carnegie used every one of our 16 golden keys to perform the metaphysical miracle of building a vast fortune. The Hearst Publishing Empire. The great publishing empire that was built by William Randolph Hearst was based on the 16 golden keys we are studying. Hearst was left a considerable fortune by his father. He took this money and bought up newspapers and magazines until he had established himself as the most powerful publisher in the world. Hearst transmuted ideas into a steady stream of gold that made him one of the world's richest men. What metaphysical miracle power did he use? Hearst started with the golden key of vision, first on our list, for he realized that a growing America would need newspapers and magazines to keep itself informed on worldwide happenings. He used keys number 3 and 12, for he had great organizational ability, and when he chose Arthur Brisbane to become his editorial assistant, he showed good judgment. It was Brisbane who helped Hearst give America the type of journalism it seemed to want. He appealed to the masses with sensational headlines and exciting stories of sex, scandal, and crime, which sold millions of copies of papers. Other golden keys on our list that Hearst used to build his vast fortune were courage, an expansive mind, enthusiasm, loyalty, intensity of desire, ability to make the right decisions, determination, patience, and persistence. Onassis, the Golden Greek. Aristotle Onassis is known as the Golden Greek. He started life as an ordinary seaman, rose to a position as an officer in the Greek Navy, and learned all about ships and the sea. He had vision, the first key on our golden list. He realized that modern shipping of goods was too expensive. If he could find a way to use cheaper labor, fewer men, and faster ships, he could make a fortune. He obtained financing and soon had a vast fleet of ships sailing around the world. He is now one of the world's largest ship owners, and his fortune is estimated to be nearly $1 billion. What keys did Onassis use in his climb to fame and fortune? In addition to vision, he showed tremendous determination, 14 on our list. He had courage, willingness to take a chance, enthusiasm, an expansive mind, good judgment, the ability to make the right decisions, and patience and persistence. All these factors combined aided him in his rapid rise to a vast shipping empire. Courage, the key to Henry J. Kaiser's wealth. The main key to the vast fortune built by Henry J. Kaiser is courage. When the government needed ships rapidly in order to win the war in the South Pacific, every builder said it would take months to ready the vessels. Kaiser had the courage and vision to promise the ships within 30 days. This was an impossible feat, and everyone expected him to fail. Kaiser brought the assembly line methods used in manufacturing cars to the shipbuilding field. Within 30 days, the Liberty ships that helped win the war were rolling off his assembly lines. What miracle powers did Henry J. Kaiser use? In addition to courage and vision, this creative genius used the metaphysical keys of organizational ability, willingness to take chances, enthusiasm, integrity, intensity of desire, good judgment, ability to make right decisions, determination, patience, and persistence. The new millionaires of Hollywood. Spectacular successes are the exception, not the rule. However, in the make-believe land of Hollywood, this same metaphysical miracle power of mental alchemy has worked to create new millionaires. In the old days, when movies first began, such people as Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, Griffith, DeMille, Goldwyn, Zanuck, Selznick, and many others rose to positions of fame, power, and riches overnight. In almost every one of these great careers, the golden metaphysical keys we have listed were used. The miracle power of mental alchemy is not dead today. It is as alive and powerful as it was in the days when the above made their fortunes. They say that Frank Sinatra is worth approximately $35 million. What golden keys did he use? He had vision, courage, a willingness to take chances, enthusiasm, intensity of desire, good judgment, determination, and patience. When his career as a singer had run its course, everyone thought he was a has-been. However, he persisted and had a great desire to become a dramatic actor. When the picture, From Here to Eternity, was being cast, he convinced the producer and director of that picture that he should play the leading dramatic role. His success in that part won for him an Academy Award, and he went on to become one of Hollywood's brightest stars and a very rich man. Today, he owns his own record company, a motion picture producing unit, and far-flung interests and properties, including his own private airplane. He is the friend and confidant of presidents and industrial giants. Truly, the metaphysical alchemy he used worked miracles for this unknown Italian boy who started life with 9 strikes against him. Bing Crosby's story is somewhat similar. The famous singer used most of the 16 metaphysical miracle keys we have listed, especially vision, courage, and persistence, to achieve a permanent spot in Hollywood's bright firmament of stars. Walt Disney's million-dollar consciousness. One of Hollywood's most outstanding examples of how to build a million-dollar consciousness through the principles of mental and metaphysical alchemy, which we are studying, was Walt Disney. Through the chemistry of his mind, he wove the warp and woof of a tapestry of dreams which poured a steady golden stream into his coffers. The metaphysical mixture he used was one of vision, courage, organizational ability, enthusiasm, an expansive mind, loyalty, intensity of desire, good judgment, ability to make the right decisions, determination, patience, and persistence. Not only did Walt Disney grow rich and famous, but he enriched the world with the magic he discovered, a magic which he infused in all his productions. He never knew a failure because he first built the consciousness of creative mind, and this in turn enriched his life, as well as the lives of millions throughout the world. The magic of a creative idea. Mental alchemy begins in the magic of a creative idea. When we say the name Sears Roebuck, we envision a multi-million-dollar organization, begun with the idea that was new in mail-order merchandising in the minds of two men, Sears and Roebuck. They used all of the 16 golden keys given in our study to build a most successful merchandising empire. When you think of rubber, you think of Goodrich or Firestone. When you think of drugs, you automatically think of Liggett. Revlon calls to mind Charles Revlon. Chrysler Corporation brings to mind the creative genius of Walter Chrysler. Lipton brings to mind tea, Ford automobiles, Hilton hotels, Wrigley chewing gum, Helena Rubinstein cosmetics, Arbuckle coffee. Always the vision of some man or woman has been responsible for a new product, or new methods of merchandising an old product. Each of these vast fortunes, represented by the products associated with their names, was created from the mental alchemy of an idea that was projected by the person for whom the product or company was named. In each instance of the above companies or individuals, our 16 metaphysical golden keys were used to create the product and the company. Can one become a millionaire today? Many people complain that in the old days, when most of the world's great fortunes were made, there were no high taxes and anyone could become a millionaire. Today, they argue, it is difficult, if not impossible, to become rich. Let us examine this theory more fully in our study of how to put to our own use the secret miracle power employed by the world's richest men. Let us briefly study 6 examples of new millionaires who were recently interviewed on David Susskind's television program, Open End. The program was called Money Talks. Edward Lamb began as a corporation lawyer early in his career. He ran for the Senate on the Republican ticket and was defeated during the Depression years. He became vitally interested in sociological problems during the lean years of the 30s and became associated with the labor movement. He has represented all 77 of the national and international labor unions. He believed that the road to riches lay in the direction of serving mankind. Later, Mr. Lamb went into the newspaper publishing business and gradually built a $50 million empire of many and diverse interests. When he was asked, "How does it feel to be rich?" he replied that one does not actually ever feel rich, for one's wealth is always measured by the size of one's debts. His incentive in life is the fun of accomplishment, the desire to serve humanity, and a natural instinct to want to be on the winning side. Mr. Lamb has used all of our metaphysical golden keys in his rise to fame and fortune. Tremendous responsibility of riches. Mr. Marvin Kratter is president and chairman of an enormous brewery. He recently bought Ebbets Field and built the new Rupert's Brewery on the valuable property. Mr. Kratter stated, 1, that wealth was a tremendous responsibility to the person who had it. What was Mr. Kratter's incentive to wealth? He started life under humble circumstances, but he had a tremendous desire to advance his interests so he could afford the comforts of life. Wealth, he declared, is comforting, but you cannot stop easily when you have made the first million. Something in the human spirit, a desire for more power or an involvement in the destinies of others, continually impels one forward, no matter how many millions he has. Mr. Kratter stated that a person who has made a fortune has a moral responsibility to his employees, his stockholders, and those who share in his products and profits. This responsibility extends to the public, the source of all wealth ultimately. Wealth, he believes, imposes restrictions and obligations which cannot be taken lightly. $60 million in assets. Louis Lesser is another new millionaire. He has control of assets which total $60 million. He rose from a door-to-door salesman of magazines to become the owner of numerous oil wells and chairman of the board of Lesser Corporation. His incentive to wealth came when he was a young man. He wanted to make $1 million so that he could quit and travel around the world and enjoy life. He explained that when he'd reached that goal and had made his first million, he became involved in so many ventures that he could not stop. He warns against greed as a motivating force to fortune, stating that this negative emotion often destroys those who exercise it. After he'd made his vast fortune, Mr. Lesser began to give his money to many charitable organizations, including the City of Hope and other groups. Mr. Lesser certainly used most of the golden metaphysical keys given on our list, especially those of vision, courage, determination, sharing his wealth, and persistence. From $250 to millions. Mr. Wallace Johnson, who runs 50 corporations, including the fabulous Holiday Inns, borrowed $250 when he was a young man. With this money, he went into his first business venture. Through hard work, shrewd investments, and knowing what the public wants, Mr. Johnson snowballed that original small capital into a multi-million-dollar fortune and businesses that span 50 different corporations. His secret of wealth: give the public value for their money. Be aware of the public's needs, and then fill those needs with products that are as good as you can possibly produce. He said, "Success? I am still looking for it and working very hard." Perhaps in those words is the true incentive which has made Mr. Johnson a multi-millionaire. He drifted into a fortune of $120 million. Perhaps the most startling success story of all these 6 new millionaires is that of David Murdoch. When he was a very young man, he drifted from job to job, not sure of where he was going. One desire he did have, however: to become rich. In 1946, something impelled him to go to Phoenix, Arizona, and there he laid the foundation of his future fortune. His investments in real estate and other business ventures, his faith in the great destiny of the West, and his overwhelming desire for achievement were the keystones to the building of his vast fortune. He surely showed vision, determination, courage, good judgment, ability to make the right decisions, an expansive mind, and determination, patience, and persistence in his climb up the ladder of success. The challenges of life spurred him on. Thomas J. Bullock started out to seek fame and fortune at the age of 26. Something told him that his destiny would be fulfilled in New Mexico. The country teemed with hidden possibilities, which could make one rich if one had the vision and foresight to see it. In the barren desert land of that arid state, Mr. Bullock discovered oil, and he was on his way to achieving his boyhood dream of success. Mr. Bullock wanted to serve the people of the state that had made him rich. He successfully ran for governor and added new laurels to his crown of success. All life is a challenge, Mr. Bullock believes, and one must be prepared to meet that challenge by facing life's obstacles and overcoming them. He also believes that one must utilize all one's gifts and skills in converting nature's free resources into usable products that will enrich and benefit humanity. He thinks of himself as only a trustee for wealth, and that he must use money to do as much good as possible for the people he serves. Only then, he said, is one worthy of such a high and sacred trust. How to motivate the miracle power to acquire riches. 1. First, unlimited your consciousness by having vision. Know that it is possible for you to become as wealthy as you wish to be. There is no limit except that you place on yourself. The Bible says, "Without vision the people perish." Have the vision to see yourself successful and rich. If you do not want $1 million or more, then ask the divine mind within for security for yourself and your family. 2. Go to your public library and obtain books dealing with the lives of such rich men as Morgan, Vanderbilt, Astor, Baruch, Ford, Carnegie, Hearst, Chrysler, Getty, and any other men who have built vast fortunes. Study their lives carefully, take copious notes, find out what mistakes they made, so you can avoid the same mistakes. Emulate their patterns of thinking and action. Become conversant with their methods and then try to apply them to your own life. 3. Turn your thoughts inward and ask the divine mind within you for ideas, formulas, inventions, stories, creative thoughts that you can use to become rich. One idea can bring millions. The law of transmutation can work for you to turn your thoughts into gold. Build your faith in your own powers of creative mind and search within until you find the key that will help you unlock doors to the treasures of the universe. 4. Sit for 15 minutes every day for 1 month and concentrate your thoughts on nothing but money. Mentally visualize yourself receiving a large sum of money. See yourself banking it or spending it for something you want. Go through the pleasurable emotion that such good news would bring you. Plan on all the things you would do with money if you had it. Walk on the streets and look in store windows and mentally put your mark on the things you will buy with your fortune when your dream ship comes in. 5. Use the money and the possessions you now have wisely and take good care of them. This will prove to your higher mind that you are capable of taking care of a big fortune and of spending it wisely. Many people waste their money, their food, and their time. Such wasteful habits prove they are not yet ready to assume the full responsibility of having a fortune or better homes or possessions. 6. Treat your present home as if it were a palace, to prove to your higher mind that you are worthy of a finer home. Decorate it as tastefully as possible. If it is even a small room, keep it clean and neat. Enjoy its comfort and be grateful for it until you are able to build your consciousness and can move into a new apartment or house that will fit your expanded consciousness. 7. Every time you spend $1 or some bigger bill, write in the white margin these words: I bless this. Under the law of the harvest, realize that every dollar you give out will return to you tenfold and enrich you. This is especially true of money spent to help others. The tithing principle used in church is an excellent one to bless your money and to multiply it. This spiritual principle can help you enrich your mind and your pocketbook. 8. Build your consciousness of wealth. Read the stock market news every night and learn the figures and facts about some of the biggest stocks in the big corporations. Do not hate Wall Street and rich people, for this will raise a mental barrier and keep you from ever getting rich. We cannot attract that which we despise, so turn your mind to trying to understand higher finance and the way the market works. The capitalistic system has made America one of the richest and most respected nations in the world. Millions of Americans have a part in American industry, and such big businesses as American Telephone, General Motors, Ford Corporation, Radio Corporation of America, Standard Oil, and Chrysler are really owned by the people who own the stock. Have a desire to become a part of this vast network of creative thought and learn all you can about industry and financing. Soon you will find the means to make investments that will pay you rich dividends in the future. 9. Sit down every night for the next week and ask Divine Mind to give you 3 ideas for improving your position in the world. Have a piece of paper and pencil with you in these periods of meditation, and give yourself at least a half-hour session each time. Write down on the paper ways in which I can improve my life. Then, after asking Divine Mind for guidance, sit still and wait for the inner prompting which will come. Write down your thoughts and read them over the next day. Keep this up for a week and see what results you obtain. 10. Visit your local public park and sit on a bench or walk about and survey it. Mentally tell yourself that you own this valuable piece of property. It is your own private estate, and you are enjoying it as if it were really your own. This exercise will give you a sense of possession and pride of ownership. Actually, you do own that park as much as any of the other people who walk there and enjoy its beauty. The fact that it does not have a fence around it, or that you don't have a deed to it, should not keep you from enjoying it. This exercise will expand your consciousness and vision. 11. Do the same thing with your public library and art gallery or museum. These public institutions, endowed by wealthy men, belong to you. Use them, enjoy them, be grateful for the treasures they possess, and enrich yourself at the fountains of knowledge, inspiration, and beauty which they possess. 12. Ask yourself, am I using my time wisely? Time is golden. It is the very essence of life and success. The precious hours that you may be wasting could, under our alchemist's law of transmutation, be turned into priceless treasures through the creative genius of your mind. Ask a millionaire on his deathbed which he'd rather have, another $1 million or a few more moments of time. He would choose time rather than money. With your spare time, go to evening school, study books, or take a home correspondence course in some subject, which can pay you rich dividends in the future. 13. By using this metaphysical formula for achieving riches, you will undoubtedly attain financial security in your future life. If you do not attract millions, do not feel you have failed in life. Count your blessings. If you have your eyesight and hearing, you already have $1 million in value. If you are happy in love and have a beautiful family, you know true riches. If you have peace of mind and contentment, you are probably better off than most millionaires. If you are in work you enjoy and have a bright dream for the future, you are already rich in the things that count in life. If you have your health and enjoy life, you would not trade places with a millionaire who is sick. If you are aware of the beauty of a sunset, of the ocean's dim horizons that beckon with hidden adventure, if you thrill to the song of a meadowlark, or laugh with the cadence of a flowing brook as it wends its way to the sea, you are in tune with cosmic beauty, and your soul knows true contentment and peace. If you love God and humanity, you already possess infinite treasures. Count your blessings and have faith that you can attract to yourself everything you will ever need to bring you peace, contentment, and fulfillment of your destiny. Summary. 1. The miracle power used by the richest men in the world and the ancient secret of the alchemists. 2. Metaphysical alchemy, secret of the ages. The superpower of the divine or cosmic mind in man. 3. The 16 golden keys to metaphysical alchemy set out in detail. 4. The magic of creative ideas and how one can become a millionaire today. 5. 6 new millionaires and how they used these secrets. 6. How one man drifted into a $120 million fortune. 7. How you can motivate your metaphysical miracle power to acquire riches. Chapter 10. Mastery of life achieved through metaphysical power. The illumined souls of the past who have conquered the forces of life are called masters. Such inspired teachers as Moses, Abraham, Christ, Buddha, Confucius, and Zoroaster were called masters because they had acquired complete control of the invisible forces of life and had learned how to direct them into creative channels. These great teachers could use the invisible metaphysical power they tapped to perform miracles of healing or to supply the needs of life. They not only controlled themselves, but they also controlled the forces of life as well as the people around them. You can become a master metaphysician by using the same higher creative faculties of mind and soul that these masters used to produce their miracles. Step by step you can rise in power consciousness until you have achieved complete mastery of life through this metaphysical power we shall now study together. The mystical life forces that surge within your mind, body, and soul are the same as those which motivated the great teachers of ancient times. This metaphysical power is as alive and as compelling today as it was centuries ago. In fact, with our modern scientific knowledge and our advances in all fields